world champion Gukesh against Fabiano Caruana as black. Gukesh is playing as white and Fabiano Caruana is black. Gukesh go with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, bishop c5 and then c3. So Gukesh go with the Kyoko piano game, preparing for d4, attacking the center with the bishop at the same time. So Fabiano Caruana go with knight f6 for attacking the pawn. Gukesh go with d3. Now there's something important for you to know. Over here he could also go with d4. This is one of the Greco attack which is most valuable and important which can be played, and this is, yes, this is very helpful. But over here Gukesh go with d3. He directly want to support this center. Over here comes d6, castling, and then come x6. Now over here, why isn't he castling? Why he directly go with x6? The idea was the knight or the bishop, particularly the knight, which cannot go there for attacking like this. So move x6 was useful. So comes rook e1. Now this is the most important and amazing move played by Gukesh. What is the idea of rook e1? Rook e1, the idea was to support this pawn so that in the future he could try d4 and attack the center along with the bishop. But there is a major problem that I saw. What if we go with knight g4? So Fabiano Caruana, if we try knight g4 with the bishop and the knight attacking this pawn, then what would Gukesh do? Simple. Playing the rook f1 does not make a lot of sense because you just wasted one move like that. Okay, so over here after this, the best move is rook e2. Over here you uplift the rook. With this, you are not wasting the move. You are defending this and defending this pawn. You can go with x3, kick the knight behind, go for developing moves, and can continue the game. So this was the main plan by Gukesh, and this was such an amazing plan. You may also add this plan in your criteria. Over here comes castling. Now comes x3. The idea was the knight or the bishop not allowed to come there. So comes a5. Over here a4 the move was allowed, right? But Gukesh, although he could have played a4, Gukesh could have played this, but he go with knight bd2. So comes a4 by Fabiano Caruana. Now he just pushed this pawn forward. Okay, so that's why the best move is always a4. Go with a4. Otherwise, the best move was d4 because you played rook e1 for some reason, right? So you must go for that. But no problem. Over here, knight bd2. Gukesh is trying to develop his pieces before launching any attack. Now comes a4 and then comes bishop b5. Now over here, he could have gone with knight there, go with knight g3, right? This can be seen in the future of the game. But why? What made Gukesh to think about bishop b5? So the idea was the bishop and the queen attacking this pawn. Now, without any thought, Fabiano Caruana go with bishop d7. He was completely confident for playing this move. Now, this means if you are going to capture this, there is something which is going to happen, right? And yes, you are correct. Rook take a4. If the queen gonna capture, then he has knight b4, where the queen, I mean bishop will be attacking the queen. If you go with queen d1, then he could capture your pawn and attack this. So this was an amazing plan. Over here you have to play rook e2 because the knight bishop is attacking this, right? So ultimately he could go with knight f4 and attack. So this was such an amazing plan by Fabiano Caruana, and directly he go with bishop d7. Okay, but once again, world champion Gukesh does not fall for this, right? So he go with knight f1. As I told, he could go with knight g3 and all. Now this plan, trust me, this plan was such an amazing plan by Fabiano, right? Over here, this was just a single move which could change the entire game. But thankfully, world champion go with the best move. Knight f1, knight e7. Why? Why knight e7? The idea is no. The idea is not to trade it. Never think that. The idea is directly to go with c6 to counter attack the center. Okay, this is the main plan. Now we come with bishop take. Now there is one amazing thing I want to tell. Fabiano Caruana had an option to take from the queen. Like he could have connected the rooks, right? He had a better option, but what he played? He played knight take. Now what's the main idea behind it? The main idea was attacking this center with this single pawn move over here. So these ideas by grandmasters are an amazing plan. And yes, for an intermediate or advanced level player, these tricks are best to know. Over here comes d4 by Gukesh. Now he attacked the center, especially those two pieces. Bishop b6, knight g3, supporting this. Okay, remember this. f5, as I told, the reason about taking the knight behind, f5. Now, once again, there is a question for you. He could have captured this from the knight, right? Gukesh could have done this. He could have directly made some trades of the pieces, right? But over here, Gukesh can go with queen c2 and attack this and many other. Gukesh had a perfect plan for capturing it. Over here, Gukesh made a mistake. Queen d3. Now, you might ask me why is it a mistake? Like queen d3 is also defending it. Queen d3 is also helping in attacking this pawn, right? Why is queen d3 a mistake? So he forgot something. Black can go with f4, the bishop will be blocked, the knight will be under attack. So this was once again a single pawn move that changed the game. And this was the mistake by Gukesh. Gukesh realized that he has to take the knight back. Now, there was one time where he played knight f1 for this. Ultimately, he had to take it back. So tell me, who is winning over here? Black is winning. Over here comes king h8. Now, this is an amazing question. Why king h8? Over here, what do grandmaster observe? Since you can observe, let me, yeah. So this is your position. Over here, you may observe that your position is perfectly fine, right? You have to make a better plan to attack your opponent's territory. Over here, he go with king h8. The idea is this pin will be removed. So there will be no threat of queen coming here for giving check or many other plans. There will be no threat at all. That's why Fabiano go with this. Okay, this is one of the major thinking of grandmasters that I have observed by analyzing their games. So comes knight to x2. Now Gukesh is thinking to develop this knight. But once again, what about this bishop? Right? The knight will be developed anytime. You know the perfect plan. If you want to develop the knight, you just jump the knight there, jump the knight there. Right? This is the perfect plan. But over here, Gukesh can go with bishop d2. The idea is doubling up of this. At the same time, he can try to open up with opening the bishop also, which is important. Right? Now over here, there is something important for you. What if we try g3? Right. So the most important thing is damaging the king's territory, which you are going to do if you try g3. After you take, suppose you go with knight take, although you will develop your pieces, but still remember your king side is completely weak. So this will be easy for such a grandmaster to destroy the position. That's why Gukesh go with knight x2. He choose to develop his knight. Now comes knight g6. Over here, obviously, knight coming here supported by the queen was the main plan of Fabiano Caruana. So comes bishop d2. Now this was the move which he played later on, right? He could have played this move earlier, but no problem. He played that. c5 was the response. Once again, a good move by black. Although he could have tried something else. c5 is a better move, but still he could have gone with knight x4. Because he played knight g6 for such a reason, right? So he must go with that. Although he go with c5, c5 is a very good move. To be honest, it is attacking the center. This is such a good move which you can learn. Over here comes d takes c5. Once again, the question goes to you: why not e5? Why he don't go with d5? There is no more thinking in that. He could go with knight x4. This is just white's choice where he want to close the position. Over here, Uh, Black can go with knight x4. If he trade, then queen can take it back and continue the game. That's simple. Over here, Kukesh don't want to play such close position. That's why he go with this. It was his personal opinion for that. So comes knight takes c5. Now, why not bishop take? I mean, bishop will be defending it. So this should be a good move. But why isn't this move considered? Over here, Kukesh could try for rook a b1 and push b4 further, attacking this. So maybe that's why knight take was preferred. Although over here, the bishop can even try to go back there and attack with this diagonal in the future. And also the knight will be attacking the queen at the center. So maybe that's why Fabiano Caruana chose this move. So comes queen c2, queen c7. Over here, he is joining the rooks. Maybe he played the rook here or even here and try to uplift the rook and all. So comes rook d1, a very good move where he can play bishop back and attack this. So comes rook f d8. Now I think rook f d8 is a bad move. He could not play this. Over here what he could do is he could go with rook f to c8. Okay, the idea is simple. He will go for some moves. For example, he could try taking the queen there. He'll try to, he'll go with queen here and attack this center. At the same time, what he could do is he is actually making a open file like this for the rook to attack. This is the simple reason behind it. Otherwise, what he could do is he could go with knight e6. Simply create a file, create his bishop diagonal, right? Make a way for that. So knight e6 is a very good move. But rook f d8. What's the response? Fabiano Caruana want to push the pawn and attack the center. Okay, so comes rook e2 by Gukesh. Why rook e2? Defending the pawn. Simple. Gukesh understood he could go with this. That's why he directly go with rook e2. And there is one more reason. He can go with bishop over there. He can take the bishop behind anywhere and go with the rook here for attacking this. So he had a perfect plan. Queen to f7. So he chose queen f7 for that. Now queen f7, he can try to play the rook here. Not right now, but in the future. Because this rook is playing an important role in defending it. So maybe after 5 to 10 moves, after the queen is removed from the square, he may try to play rook here and open up attack like this. So comes c4, a great move by Gukesh. Why? Why is it a great move? How is this acting such special? The idea is simple. Queen attacking this diagonal where he could take advantage of pushing the pawn forward. So simply in order to destroy this plan, he go with c4. Also, it is blocking d4 at the same time. So d5 move is blocked with c4 also. This is the main plan. Knight e7. Now maybe he's trying to bring knight here, here and attack. That may be his plan. Otherwise, over here, knight e1 played by Gukesh. Once again, you might think, why knight e1? The idea is simple. He will go with knight there and try to offer some trades. Okay. Now you might say not right now because this pawn can be pushed right now. So maybe he can go with knight there or go with some move like f3 and then go with this. So comes knight c6. Okay, so he chose knight over there. As I told, he could go with f3 or knight there. He go with knight there so that the pawn cannot be pushed and then he'll plan for this. Also the knight cannot come there. Okay, so it's like he chose to add mobility to the knights like this. King x7, knight e3. As I told, the idea was to trade the pieces. No, okay, g5. Now Fabiano Caruana declines it and go with g5. Now over here g5 is a good move. Honestly, it is a good move. The idea is simple. He want to create pawn storm like you can see to attack the king side. Over here, knight b4 was a mistake. Over here, Gukesh overlooked for the opportunity. Over here, what he could do? The idea is simple. Um, he can go with knight takes c5 after he take bishop coming here and try to open up this diagonal. He could even take the rook there and like try to attack. I mean, he could take full control of the center like this with the queen diagonal being blocked. Okay, if he captured this, The idea is simple. If he capture it, then he can go with rook d5 and then the queen will be trapped. If he go with queen take a2, then he could go with knight take e5. The knight sacrifice. If the pawn take, the idea is simple. The rook will capture this bishop. Ultimately, the position will become neutral because the bishop will attack this and many more points are valid. So this position will be equal to neutral. That's why. But Gukesh go with the mistake. Knight b4. So comes rook to g8. Now why rook g8? Over here, the okay. So this is black's turn, and in this position, as I told, since you know that this move is a mistake, this move is not at all helpful for white at all, and it's not damaging your position. So what you can do is you can take advantage of it. So he go with rook g8 so that he could push for this. He could go g4 and attack this way. This was the main idea. And Gukesh go with bishop c3. Once again, he played the correct move, but not in the correct sequence. He could have played bishop c3 now instead of later on. Already, knight b4, uh, rook g8, bishop c3, g4. After capture, rook take it. Now rook file is open. He'll just double up and attack this king side. So comes rook take on the pawn. Rook comes to g8. Now, why is this? Why is this move looking as a mistake? Although the idea is simple, he want to attack this, right? Now, if an average player would look at this, you may say that this position black is winning because black is attacking this pawn. Now, remember, over here this move was a mistake because he could go with knight e5. Over here, knight e5, he go with this, prepare for the fork, right? So he go with rook take g2. Now he is trying to remove this position from being forked, and then he go with this. The idea was he will not allow this kind of attack. Now instead of this move, he could have go with um rook this one to g6. Yes, rook this one to g6 just for offering trade. Otherwise, bishop over there was the move where Fabiano Caruana thought that the knight cannot go there. So comes rook take d8. Now this was the sacrifice of rook. After knight take it, why knight take it? Because if the rook will take, then king take rook. So knight take it, then comes bishop take e5, and then this position became kind of neutral because Gukesh was losing in this position, but then he started winning. And after knight to d7, a great move by Fabiano Caruana, he go with king e1. Why king e1? What will happen if he go with bishop take? What will happen? So the idea is simple. He'll go with queen x5 and look for the mate. That's why over here, Gukesh make king e1. He'll want to escape the king so that the checkmate will be not allowed. Now knight e6. Fabiano Caruana is developing his pieces, bringing out the knights and all. Over here comes queen take a4, and this is once again a mistake. Okay, let's analyze this position. Why queen take is not a good move. Over here, if you are looking for capturing it, then this is not correct. You may observe this. Over here, what he could do is black will go with knight take on okay, he could go with knight take bishop, right? Because this is the central bishop, and central bishop play an important role, as you may observe. So black could easily capture it, right? And after takes, he could go with queen q7. He could look for some kingside attack, attacking the knight also. So Fabiano had a good option, but then Fabiano played knight g5. Now the position came to neutral. So knight take g5 check, rook take it, bishop goes behind, knight goes to e5, queen b3, and then knight c6. Once again, he is attacking the bishop. But then it is not important to attack the bishop right now. He could have tried something like f3 and attack this. And after he played this, go with a check. Now try to make some winning position, right? But then Fabiano played knight c6. Now his main target was the bishop. So bishop f6, rook comes back, queen c3 was the blunder. The idea is simple. He wanted to defend it, right? But why is this move a blunder? Because he can go with f3, and this was just a single move changing the king. Because after rook e3, what he could do is he could go with queen to e6 over here, and then he will look forward for attacking your position by queen x5 and this. Anyways, over here queen c3 was a blunder, and then x5 was a miss, and so was the reason for defeat of Fabiano Caruana. E5, E5 was defending it. That's why queen e6. The idea is simple. He want to look for this. So comes knight take f4. Now this was a fork. Rook check. King there. Queen d7 check. Now Fabiano Caruana is thinking that he could simply remove the rook and protect this from the fork. Queen d3. Okay, queen d3 was a mistake, because if you are winning, then queen trade should not be allowed. So queen d3 allowed black to take advantage, and then the fork was resolved. So the issue regarding the fork was resolved, and this was an advantage for Fabiano Caruana. Now king e4, x4. Fabiano is looking forward pushing the pawns, which is not the correct way, because his pieces are already under attack. f3, knight d4, rook x2, rook e1 check, king take d4. Now why would black sacrifice this? Okay, so over here rook e1 check, king d4, rook take f4. The idea was to capture this knight. King d5, king g6, and after some moves over here, this was the winning endgame for Gukesh, as you may observe, because he's having such three pawns, right? So how can you think that Gukesh may lose? Okay, so this was the game where Gukesh continued pushing the pawns forward, and then this game continued like this, and then Fabiano Caruana resigned. The king, pawn can be pushed, promoted to a queen, and easily. This was an easy win for Gukesh. But now, as I shown the whole this game, what you may observe, you observe that Fabiano was winning in the present. Later on, Gukesh got winning, and this was such a beautiful game played by two grandmasters. And this analysis is such an important thing which you may use to increase your rating. So if you want, you may rewatch this video. You may gain more and more knowledge about each and every single move in this video. And if you have any doubt regarding any move or anything, you may ask me in the comments. Okay, so thank you very much for watching my video, and we'll meet you in the next one.